So Brian is asking, where did the saying Satan refused to worship Adam come from?
So, my friend Brian, that's funny you ask this question because it's not found in the Bible. It's actually found in the Quran. If you look actually in BibleAsk.org, our website, and you put where does it say that Satan refused to bow down to Adam, this is where the depth of this answer is. But yeah, basically, it's in the Quran. Um, in the Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 34, so 234 of the Quran. So that's where you'd find that. It's not in the Bible. God never called Satan to bow down and worship um, Adam in any way, shape, or form. God is the only one who's worthy of worship. And actually, if you look, there's a time where in the book of Revelation, where John the Revelator says, he fell down at an angel's feet to worship him. And the angel said, "Do it not, for I'm of your fellow servants." So the angel saying, you and I, John, a human, and I, an angel, um, are basically the same. I'm your fellow servant. He said, worship God. Um, and so the angel says, don't worship me. And, um, and sorry, this is Revelation 22, verse 8, and says, then he says in verse 9, the angel says unto him, see thou do it not, for I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren the prophets and of them who keep the sayings of this book, worship God. So even the angels tell, human beings only worship God. You don't worship people, you don't worship angels, you only worship God. That is the only person that is ever called to be worshiped. Never has in the Bible do we see Satan being called to bow down to Adam. That's unbiblical. So just so you know that's where that comes from. It's a little bit of a different question because it's kind of outside of the Bible. So Jay or Wendy, any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, and a great answer. And then just a quick additional verse. It's interesting that Psalm 8:5, it actually suggests God made man even lower than the angels, not by much, but lower.
Yeah.
Psalm 8:5, it says, "For you have made him a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honor." Um, and we see Paul in Hebrews 2:9, especially applying this verse to Jesus, who was made. So Hebrews 2:9 says, "But we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he, by the grace of God, might taste death for everyone." So how is God made, or Jesus made a little lower than the angels? By being turned into a man. But then it's Christ especially who's the one that's being crowned with glory and honor and receiving the praise. And we know that every knee shall bow and tongue confess that he is Lord. And that's referring to God. And all the universe, all creation is to bow down to God, as Tina said.
Yeah. And I mean, and it also, this idea of Satan being told to bow to Adam is in conflict with the second commandment, of the Bible. And God says, my commandment stands forever, which is, thou shalt not have any graven images. We're not supposed to bow down to anything other than God. And, the first commandment is thou shalt have no other gods before me. We're not supposed to have any other gods, anything, anybody are we to worship at all in any way or bow down to. So yeah, just saying that this is definitely not a biblical concept because it's out of harmony with God's word. It's out of harmony with his law, and it's not found anywhere in the scriptures. So.
Yeah, and if we look at what was the dominion given to Adam in Genesis, and it was, Adam was made out of the earth, and then he was given dominion over the earth. And yeah, there's no indication whatsoever in the beginning that God even gave Adam any dominion over angels. So it's always been this gulf between man and angels. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of ways we can, I guess, really pull this apart and just keep reaffirming the hierarchy of God, then angels, and then maybe things in between, who knows, and then man.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know, just like you're saying, that's brought to my mind like Jacob's ladder, Jacob's dream. Jacob was, on the ground sleeping, and he has a dream where there's angels up and down a ladder. On the top of the ladder is Jesus. So, absolutely, we're on the bottom. Where no angels ever gonna worship us. So that's not what they're called to do.